Born from the ashes. 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 Born from the. Watch me rain.
Spawning in the bottom right as the blue Terran for the Ris3n community, it's Kesai. Spawning in the top left as the green Terran for AlphaX Latin America, it's Warbeast. TVT on Simulacrum as the first map of the night. Each alpha match is formatted in the following way. Two players go head to head. If you win the game, you score a point for your team. The first team to 3 points wins. Simple and easy as that. K to the SI Kesai has been a near Grandmasters player for quite some time. Recently hitting Grandmasters this season for a few weeks. Congratulations to him on that. And Warbeast, well, I actually haven't encountered Warbeast play before, so this is going to be an interesting matchup. Kesai loves his Cyclones. He loves his factory play in the Terran vs. Terran matchup. He has been known to cheese on occasion, but this is a best of one, so it, okay. Could be scouting for proxies, could be dropping one himself. I think it's gonna be the latter. Wait, we'll keep an eye on that little troublemaker. Ooh, it is gonna be a proxy starport from Kesai, most likely for a Liberator or a Cloaked Banshee play. Could be either. There's also a small chance it could be a proxy Raven, but that's like a balls to the wall cray play. Be very surprised to see that happen. 2 Reapers coming out to deflect this Reaper. Oh, 1 SCV kill, but some nice collapse on that Reaper from Kesai. Double jump onto the ledge with his 2 Reapers as the Hellion threatened from above. The first attack was not the true threat. It was the second, and Warbeast seems like really behind here, actually. Just finishing up his factory now. He got a reactor on his barracks. It looks like he wants to go into bio here. Just now starting his starport, but you can see Kesai's finished up a while ago. Okay, all right. Caster fail number 1 of the day. I was completely wrong. This is going to be a proxy medevac. Interesting. Okay, so looking at the pieces we have on the field, I think what he's going to do is send around these Hellions to this medevac and do a drop in the main. It looks like that's exactly what's going to happen. Kesai meeting up with the medevac, ready to start this Doom drop. And you know what? There's not a lot to defend here from Warbeast. About 7 Marines to head off this assault. 2 of the Reapers loaded in here as well. This Marine is not... okay, all right. I guess it is positioned to intercept, but... all the shots are going to go off on the Reaper, and that damage is going to heal. Here come the rest of the Marines. A Cyclone is out as well, but nice micro from Kesai, keeping most of his units alive here. There's some low-health Marines, but Warbeast with just a little bit more powerful micro, and that Cyclone popping fortuitously at exactly the right time is able to hold on. A Raven is coming out. Now, this medevac does not necessarily mean that Warbeast knows there's a proxy, but he's got to be like, okay, well, I didn't see a starport in the main, and that hit pretty freaking fast. So he's going to go for his own Liberator play. Kasai going for a third CC. Warbeast is up 5 workers. Liberator sieges up on the gases. It's gonna take out 2 workers before backing out. Tech Lab on that starport could mean further aggressive play from Kesai. Like I originally guessed, could be a Banshee, something of the sort. But for now, it's gonna be Marine tank production back at home for K to the SI Kesai. Production going up for both players. Oh, lock on this Liberator will prevent further damage. 3 SCVs do go down, but I mean, probably not the kind of damage that Warbeast was hoping for. However, Warbeast still ahead, 16 workers. Kasai investing on that early 3rd CC, though, could gain the economic lead here still. Warbeast actually morphing his 3rd orbital first. Interesting. So it looked like Warbeast was behind for quite some time, but I guess I was incorrect in my assumptions here. He looks like maybe like he had to take his hand off the keyboard and sneeze at the start, but like, yeah, no, he's looking really solid here. Okay, Cyclone intercepts on the top. Gonna take down that Reaper. Not too big a loss from Kesai, but yeah, I gotta say, Kesai pretty far behind economically, a little bit behind in army supply as well. Upgrades are gonna be hitting first for Green Terran. Kasai going for the Marine tank push. Warbeast doesn't have his 2 tanks sieged, and he is a little bit outgunned here. The 2 Ravens for Kesai also going to provide a lot of value. That means these 2 tanks will be out of play pretty much instantly. Yep, there we go. 1 disable. He's not bothering with the second, instead dropping an auto turret. But is there enough Marines to break through here for Warbeast? I don't think that the answer is yes. He's going to pick up in the medevacs and evac to a safer location nestled in next to this 3rd. Reinforcements come down. He's going to siege up and try and zone out these tanks. Side tries for a flanking maneuver, absorbs a couple of those tank shots. And it looks like, Side loses a tank. He's going to move 1 forward. But that's 2 tanks of Kesai to the 1 of Warbeast. And Warbeast is just going to drop on top of these bad boys. Size reinforcements coming in from behind. Trying to gun down the full medevac. Raven providing air superiority for Kesai, enabling him to see to the edge of the tank shot range and get some shelling on the CC. Marines can't quite close the gap. Oh, Sight going on the high ground from Warbeast. Some very intense micro going down on Simulacrum. TVT, such a volatile matchup. It can always swing so quick in one player's flavor or the other. Okay, here comes the stem forward from Warbeast, and Auto Turret dropped in the front, picks off the Cyclone, and that means these tanks will have a little bit extra time to fire. Warbeast really needs to walk in on top of this. He doesn't, he still cleans it up, but took a couple additional losses that he perhaps didn't need to. This Viking is going to get gunned down for Kasai, and despite, you know, doing his best to trade well, he is pretty behind in the army supply here. If we look at the resources lost, 700 in favor of Warbeast. Kasai has shot up in workers, but it's not the world's biggest worker lead. Will he capitalize on that with a 4th CC? I think right now he needs to focus on defending this incoming Doom drop of Warbeast. Warbeast could do a couple of things. He could be going into the main. He could be sharking around to this 3rd to try and take it down. Warbeast owning this corner of Kesai's main. He is going to supply block Kesai pretty heavily here. Kesai has to be very careful how he engages this, and of course behind this the full production of Warbeast is being brought to bear. He's getting a 4th CC because he knows he's safe from attack. Kesai seemingly at a loss for what to do. He's throwing down 6 supply depots, but he can't push into this tank line. Too many Marines at full health. Oh, another stim Forster Kasai as Warbeast threatens the 3rd with the reinforcements. He's going to pull the boys, getting in on top of this tank. He will pick it off. He should be able to clean up this aggression, but his main is still being camped. He is still behind in production. He's building a 4th, but 35 army supply to 97. Now Kasai's economy is still doing okay. He's actually, even in workers, he was ahead for quite some time. But these Marines are very tired. They're very stimmed out, and remember, if they want to engage at any level of effectiveness, they're going to have to stim once again. Warbeast making himself a planetary. He's going to saturate that quite immediately. Kasai's 4th just finishing up, and it looks like Warbeast wants to go for another move out. He's dropping a scan on the low ground so the tanks can hit the main part of the mineral line. Marines decide they don't want to actually stim into the high ground Marine tank fire. Going to intercept Warbeast's secondary attack, but a lot of Kasai's units getting gunned down here. He's fighting to the last man, but even more SCVs going down. GG is called, and Warbeast puts a point on the board for AlphaX Latin America. In the top left, as the Pink Terran for AlphaX Latin America, it's Shelby. And in the bottom right, as the Purple Zerg, it's Steven. I think, you know, okay, so we go into these with blind picks. First of all, AlphaX's 2nd player did not have enough games played to participate in tonight's match. Only 10 ranked on his Bane account. So unfortunately, 2 points go to Ris3n. So Shelby trying to stop Ris3n from 3-0ing essentially. Swarmonomics was the 2nd player for Ris3n. He now has a walkover, so he can still come back as the ace if AlphaX LATAM wins these next 2 games. We might also do some fun games after, but for now, Shelby and Steven are going to duke it out. Now, I think, so there are blind picks for this league, but, you know, if Revolt had any, Revolt being the captain of Ris3n Competitive, you know, analyzed this at all and made this matchup happen, I think that's a wonderful decision, especially since there are 2 Terran players for Excuse me, I'm totally an idiot because I lost game number 1, sadly. So the score is 1-1. Forget everything I said at the beginning of this match. But, you know, Steven has these really volatile timings where he can launch an attack against a Terran. He's very good at knowing when and where to pick the Terran apart, when the Terran's gonna pick up his third, how many lings to have at that time, what angle to hit from, things like that. He's very good at like finding holes in the Terran defense and exploiting them, especially if he's going up against a bio player. So we'll have to see. Shelby is going for a factory right now, but that's still pretty standard in the TVZ matchup for some Hellion play. We still could see bio out of this or some BCs. Alright, so Shelby pulling the scouting SCV to try and block the third, and he will get the drone kill. Okay, so Steven's gonna take this other third location. On Triton, well, on any map where this is the case, as the Zerg, you want to avoid doing this, because if your opponent goes bio, and if they're dropping, they can drop on the high ground, hit you on the low ground. You know, you go to respond to the high ground, they hit you from the low ground. And it can be like this really annoying, frustrating situation as the Zerg if you get in a... You know, if you can't have enough units fielded to cover both those locations at the same time effectively. Reaper gets picked off by Steven. Hellion's coming out for Shelby. And Steven is not going for the traditional 8 sets of lings that you really want to defend this. You want about 16, somewhere between like 14 and 20 lings to defend this Hellion aggression, get the wraparound. And the queens aren't really in position to stop this either. As you can see, they're already going to fly these defenders. 2 more queens are coming out, but only about halfway finished. And that means these Hellions will connect with the drone line. 4 of them falling already. Oh my god. No, Steven's from Australia, but I didn't realize he wanted to throw so many drones on the Bobby, eh? That's what Dragonite sounds like. Dragonite, if you're in the chat, that's what Australians sound like, I promise you. Okay. Steven. Makes 5-7 drones. Okay, so this is just going to replace the drones he lost. Roach Warren on the way. He is adding on additional gases as well. And this might be like a 2.5 base Roach play here from Steven. He's dropping Spores as well, just to be safe. He does get a scout off on the Terran base, and it looks like Shelby is going to be going into mech, given the 3 factories. So an armory going down behind this as well. 3rd CC being made for Shelby. Steven gonna get slightly supply blocked. Hellions moving in once again, and Steven has his queen spread, so he has a lot of these angles covered, but alright. Queens are able to reinforce in time, it looks like. Shelby just wants to trade a Hellion out for those lings. 5 drones going down as well. Shelby moves out the third CC. Blue Flame on the way, as well as armored vehicle plating. Steven going for +1 carapace, +1 range. And Shelby going for a battle mech composition as opposed to traditional mech. This floating barracks is going to provide vision for these two Cyclones. So Cyclones are another unit that can shoot farther than they can see. So if they get a lock on, they can actually leash the target backwards as long as they have vision. You'll see with this Overlord that vision got cut off, so the lock on did as well. But with this barracks, that's going to change the equation. Shelby isn't positioning in here, okay? Might just be using this as a scouting racks. Interesting. Steven's roach count is increasing. He's quickly catching up to the army supply of the Terran. He is behind a little bit economically, though. The Terran ahead, 6 workers plus mules. And Banshee getting cloak. One of them already produced. Where is it at? Where's my Banshee? Don't know where the Banshee went, but one did hit the field. Oops. Shelby going to actually pick off this hatch. Queens and Roaches. Will he know? Okay, he will. Queens and Roaches not quite able to respond in time to save that. Well, let me make a correction here. They were totally in time to save this, but Steven chose not to drop the transfuse, instead focusing on this counterattack. He's hitting at the third and at the main. He has been able to pick off 15, 17. Can we make it a 2 dozen? Can we get a 2 dozen here? We're at 20, 21, but it's not, I don't, Okay, Steven's still, like, even in army supply with the Terran, but that's because of Lings. I guess a lot of the Hellions went down. The remaining ones do still have Blue Flame, and I don't know this is enough to engage here for Steven, especially with these Roaches. Gonna get picked off on the move command. Doesn't even get the Cyclone. Steven isn't out of this game yet, but he is embattled here. Ling run by, about to head into the fourth. Okay, he's going to send half of them in and pull half of them home to defend. Steven remade his fourth in this position, and it's pretty vulnerable. I think it's going to go down again, maybe. Okay, he's counterattacking. That distracted Shelby a little bit, but yeah, there's another cancel on the fourth, and he's against a 4-base Terran. Oh my god, some of these Lings focusing on the extractor, which means these Hellions have time to respond. So what could have been like a lot of damage just ended up being a dozen SCVs, and this Banshee going to town on Steven's mineral line. Steven just been under relentless pressure all game. Okay, he snuck more Lings into the main. Steven finds a way. It's going to increase that SCV kill count to 16, but here comes a tank armada. 1 tank per Ling, apparently. Gonna try and get out. Tanks get the block. Shelby setting up another attack on the third location. Steven re-expanding, trying to retake the fourth. He does still have a lot of minerals, still has a lot of gas. However, these Queens are grouped to fight. They are not injecting, and something Steven is in very short supply of right now is larva. It's gonna push away. Transfuse, Steven! Transfuse! There we go! Okay. Was able to save the hatch this time with that OP transfuse. Steven's fighting, but these Cyclones staying off creep, making the Zerg units lose slower, move slower, and just picking away at the army of the Zerg. Terran up to 90 supply. Steven did expand to the bottom left as well. But Shelby has like an impregnable fortress up here at the top left of the map. And I don't know how any wing run bys or anything by Steven are even going to do anything. Shelby using the army supply advantage. He knows that, you know, yeah, see, he knows that he can just intercept attack forces and poke in at Steven with this amount of units. Even though they are injured, you know, he can keep the injured Hellions toward the middle. Things like that, have the full health units tank in the front as he launches these harasses and feel totally secure in doing so, knowing that like over half his army is back at home. Steven going into Greater Spire, getting out some Corruptors, as well as +3 Carapace. Shelby, the additional vehicle, weapons, and armor. Shelby gonna clean up some more creep. Steven is moving to respond, but he should finally be able to clean this army up. Yeah, only one Hellbat left, and these Cyclones will get trapped in. However, Shelby has quite a large bank to replace this, and it's pretty much worth the supply trade out. Steven able to absorb some of that damage with the Queens, but it looks like Shelby is moving out in an armored column to clear the Zerg infestation. Oh, that's not going to quite morph in time. Okay, this is actually a pretty bad start to the engagement for Shelby, but Shelby... okay, Broodlord's hitting the field for Steven. Alright. Shelby's like, you're right, I didn't build anti-air, just a Thor. You got me, gotta back off. So Steven getting those Broodlords out just in time as we were following the other engagements means Shelby is going to have to head home while he waits for those 4 Thors to hit the field. In the meantime, Steven is looking to engage this planetary. A lot of tanks here. Still only, quotation marks, 4 Broodlords. They can do a lot of damage, but they need to take out that Thor in the back. A Thor will take down at least 1 Broodlord. And 2 of the Thors in production have hit the field, as well as 2 Vikings for Shelby. Shelby cleaning up the air of Steven, but Steven with 3 reinforcing Broodlords hitting the tank line at the same time. No more Broodlords in behind this for Steven, and he lost all the Hydras. 28 Roaches going to be the next tech of choice, and these Broodlords are forfeit. They can only like suicide in and deal more damage. They're never going to outrun these Vikings. They're going for the tanks. But here comes the Thor, and that's the end of the Broodlord damage. The Overseers are like, man, we oversaw some shit. Oh no, look how many eyes we have to take that and engrave like all that biomass becoming dead again. Oh my god, so many dead Hydras. Steven attempts a Ling run by, only getting 2 SCVs. Shelby making another base at that 3rd location, going up to 5 base Terran as he moves out another armored column. Okay, great trades at the start of this for Steven. He is fighting on creep, gunning down a lot of the tanks, but there's still tanks mixed in here. They're kind of hard to see with the pink, but they're back there behind the Thor line, and Shelby still has enough. Steven's going to have to count on the reinforcements to clean this up, but only a dozen Hydras on the way, and 6 of them are going to be coming out before the others. Now, Steven does have a creep shield here, meaning that Shelby is going to take a little while before he can push in and deal some damage. A Ling run by, very tiny Ling run by, is actually going to kill a couple SCVs. 10 of them go down before the blue flames catch up. Ooh, you're still hitting, man. Shelby accidentally micros the defending units out of killing those Lings. Might not have even been defending units, just rallied. We'll pick off another hatch of Steven. Still on 4 base against the 5 base Terran. 21 Lings, or 21 SCVs actually went down to those 3 Lings. That was cool. That was pretty cost effective. But Steven's gonna need a lot more where that came from. Shelby still ahead 12 workers and still ahead in army supply. Steven's getting good trades. He's getting decent trades. He's trading, you know, not even with the Terran, but you're not going to at the late game. Okay, engagement's shaping up. There's enough tanks here that Steven cannot engage this. Shelby just waiting for the scan. Gonna clear the creep up. Gonna wait for it to recede a little bit before continuing to leapfrog those tanks forward. Alright, now this is bad. Steven down to 3 hatches. 9 drones falling as well. That's going to put him on half the bases of the Terran. A last Gaps Nidus is dropped up here to the top right corner. But, oh, this is so many tanks. That's a lot of Ravagers, but that's not enough bile, and they'll all go down in a single tank volley. With that, Steven down to 34 army supply. The Nidus gets cleaned up. GG is called. And Shelby takes a second win for AlphaX Latin America. Interestingly enough, our next and final map is going to be Zen LE. It looks like, for some reason, there wasn't a third AlphaX player. So the score is currently 2-2 in the top right as the ace player for Ris3n. It's the red Terran Coda. And in the bottom left, as the blue Terran, once again, it's Shelby. Shelby taking down Steven in the previous round. How's he gonna do in Terran versus Terran? Shelby scouting around for proxies, not gonna find any. Coda, the honorable Terran that he is, just playing it standard, yo. Playing it standard. Now Coda is up to 2 gas. Shelby staying on 1. We should be seeing a factory from Coda quite soon. We are gonna see a reactor on the barracks. A little bit ahead in that production as well. Shelby just now getting out the Reaper. Factory is started for Coda. Shelby's orbital a little bit behind Coda's as well. Starport going down for Coda. Shelby hopping into the main. Coda gonna snipe the first Reaper and keep double pumping these Reapers as well. We should see some kind of Reaper Hellion combination aggression. I doubt he's gonna attack with just these Reaper. Okay, he is gonna attack. No, okay, it is gonna be Reaper Hellion. Look at that. Look at that. Coda literally gonna snipe and SCV and get out of dodge. But Coda looking pretty good right now. Both players on even worker counts. Coda up in army supply though. And he's gonna wait for the other two Reapers to join up and begin harassing this natural. It's the cancel on the reactor. And it's gonna back out. Coda getting up his own natural. And that's the thing, you know, okay, so Coda went up in army supply as opposed to getting that second CC. That means he has pressure on him to keep doing damage. Like, I don't think the damage he's done so far is even enough to justify this just yet, but if he gets in there one or two more times, he should be okay, but that clock is ticking. There is going to be a tank in position. Coda gets a medevac and jumps to the high ground. We saw Kasai do something similar to this in game number 1. But Coda seeming to do it with a little bit more effect, is going to get some delayed mining time, pick off the refinery, maybe. We'll see if it burns down. We'll keep that in our bottom right. But, ooh, grenades on... Oh, okay, no, he grenaded himself. He's going to get back into that medevac and drop in the natural. These units are pretty much abandoned because the medevac will be picked off by the Reaper. And Coda is shut down here. Okay, Coda with a 2-worker lead. Army supply is evened up. Shelby with those valuable tanks. Coda getting out 1 tank at home and going for the Viking play. His orbital is going to be a little bit later. Shelby will have an extra mule to help deal with this damage of Coda by the time Coda's orbital is finished. Coda gonna maintain air dominance, but the scan provides the vision for Shelby to shut down that tank. Oh no, the Vikings just stand there. Shelby guns down 2 Vikings entirely for free. Both players still pretty even though. Shelby doesn't have the units needed to push in here. Repositioning the tank, most likely for a scan. The range is... it's just out of range. You can see the dot right there. We'll be able to shell the SCV line for just a little bit, but... Okay. Coda still owns most of this land despite the earlier mistake with the Vikings. Oh, he loses the tank as well as more SCVs. It's going to land the Vikings and finally clean up the siege of Shelby. But Shelby able to build a 3rd CC on location behind this. Coda going for a biotank Viking push. And Shelby's tank count has been reset. There's one about to pop, but Coda has a window to do damage to the Vikings pushing toward Coda's main. Liberator in the mix here too could pick off that one tank. These Marines are not enough to shut this down if Coda plays his cards right. Okay, the tank's gonna nestle at the natural. That means his third is pretty exposed. Coda moving out his own third. It did finish up in his main. Alright, the Marines get picked off for Coda. Mule going down as well. The third under threat. Shelby gonna lift off and try and save it. 3 Vikings in the air. Only one of them firing, though. Means Shelby does have a chance to save the CC. That chance is dwindling. Oh, there's the SCVs to repair, but they're going to have to go into the Liberation Zone to do so. Okay, tank is going to zone out the bio of Coda, though. But Coda can just move this Liberator forward. There's nothing that shoots up. There's a single Marine. Unfortunately, he does have the Fog of War, so he's not going to know that just yet. There we go. Viking finally coming out for Shelby, but it has its work cut out for it. Shelby maybe getting a little bit too greedy with this third CC, is being pushed back. Coda didn't focus fire the tank, though. Instead, focus firing the Marines. That could have been on purpose. It could have been a mistake. It could have just been automatic. But the result is Shelby's anti-air getting diminished even farther. However, that is going to cost Coda another tank. Coda now with the dominant economy, 38 workers to 27, plus that third CC landed on location and building energy. Shelling continuing to happen on this natural, and Shelby doesn't have the resources to sustain repair on this. Two CCs under siege now, both of them lit on fire. The SCVs are pulled to repair, but that means that Shelby isn't spending that money on units. Shelby able to push the Vikings off, save these 2 CCs. Shelby does not want to tap out and lose the match. So far, it's safe to say that AlphaX LATAM has won every battle and broken even in the war. So can Coda break it here for the Ris3n community? Or will AlphaX LATAM go down in flames? Did you guys just see the CC texture like flicker into existence here? That's so weird. Wow, what a glitch. Anyway. If you're watching in the YouTube VOD, take a look at that. Rewind a couple frames. That was crazy. Okay, Shelby trying to repair this. Coda not gonna allow this fresh base to survive for long. Oh my god, Shelby tries to evac. It's not gonna work. Instead, the SCVs try to evac the CC. Shelby pulls forward this CC to try and aggro the Marine Viking. It's... Coda has too much. GG. Coda takes a third victory for Ris3n, and with it, the match.
So hard and I won't stop. 4 queens that don't miss shots. Love responding like all the time. Can't wait for when all those things pop. Drone so hard, got drops too. And the ladders all locked up too. If you can make